your flesh and blood.
Welcome to Tell Me Your Story with Dennis Henson. This is a brand new series we hope that you will enjoy, and it's called Body of Health. Dennis, welcome, and let us start out by telling people about, I guess best way to put it is, our disclaimer.
Okay. Well, Richard, thank you so much for having me on this series. I'm really excited about doing this, but I think it's very important that everyone understand that neither of us are medical doctors or have any kind of medical training. We are just people who are very interested in health and being able to get better faster, so that if you have some problem, that gives you a place to go to find things that have worked for other people that may help you, or they may not, but there'll be something worthwhile checking out.
Body of Health is going to be here every week. The website that we're going to suggest you go to for information, number one website is dennisjhenson.com, which we will have in the audio and video podcast videocast. But there's also a Facebook location, and basically it's facebook.com/groups/body of health. Once again, facebook.com/groups, that's plural, groups/body of health. We hope that you will go there to check out the information that Dennis has provided with us. And with that, we move into Body of Health. I'm Reverend Dr. D. He is Dennis Henson, and we are here to help you to improve the quality of your life, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And as, of course, you've already heard, he and I are not doctors. It doesn't matter whether or not you hear me say Reverend Dr. D. That is not a medical degree by any means. And we are just here sharing our observations and perspectives on better ways to better our health and wellness. And we have been into the conversation with last week's program dealing with combating cancer. And again, without going back too far here, we both have experienced in our lives those issues with people around us. We have not had that experience, although there are some who might categorize certain other conditions as cancer-like. But the reality is that they are fed by something that we've been talking about in the first program, and we need to find ways to either, I love this from an old Star Trek episode from the original series, where this creature attached itself to the outside of the Enterprise, and it was draining their energy because it was basically thinking it was their mother, as it were. So they had to figure out how to get this thing off of the ship before they ran out of power. And the theory that they came up with that actually worked, they said, well, what if, because it's kind of like a baby suckling on its mother's teat, what if we soured the milk? And that's exactly what they did. They shifted the frequencies and all the stuff that they did. Well, why wouldn't that be kind of the same thing here, in that either you sour the food, if you will, make it unpalatable for the cells, or eliminate that food altogether? We've talked about that. But we're going to move into another realm here, which ties in because we take in through our lungs, we take in oxygen. So we're going to talk about oxygenation and deep breathing. Dennis, first of all, welcome back to part 2 of Combating Cancer.
Thank you, Richard. I appreciate you having me, and I'm looking forward to today's program.
Now, there's a word here. I love some of these words. Obviously, boy, it's a challenge to say oxygenation. You got to say it slow sometimes. But another one has to do with another word referencing our diaphragm, diaphragmatic breathing. What is that?
Well, it's forcing oxygen into your lungs. It's a system. My system is, I call it the 5-21 system, and it's really box breathing, but you consistently increase what you're doing, which makes it even more and more powerful. It starts like this. You inhale through your nose for a count of 5. Now, I didn't say for 5 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
I said you just count to 5. So you take a deep breath to 5. Okay. Then you hold that breath for 6 counts. You're doing this in your brains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then you open your mouth and you exhale for 7.
Mm-hmm.
And you go and get as much as you can for 7. Then you hold your breath for 8 counts. Then you're ready to breathe. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
you're breathing through your nose for 9. And then you hold for 10. And you continue doing that. Breathe in, hold, breathe out, hold. And each time you add an extra count until you get to 21. You want to do this twice a day. The first time you do it, you're probably going to think this is a challenge. And then you do it again. And after you've done it for a week or so, then you'll start to kind of look forward to it, because when you finish, you feel different. Your body has the oxygen it needs. The process changes the way you feel and the way your body is oxygenated.
Mm-hmm.
That also fights cancer and other diseases. You know what we're talking about here. We cover a lot of the same things week after week, because your health is a system. The whole thing is a system. And you, as we cover each of the things that we want to cover, you know, heart disease and stroke, uh, cancer, whatever it is, a lot of the things are the same.
Yeah.
So once you get the system down and you're doing the system, it's fighting everything that's bad for you and making you more and more and more healthy, so that when something bad does happen, like, you know, I had a terrible fall because I was running with my dogs. They had 2 leashes. They wrapped their leashes around my legs, and I was running on asphalt, and I hit the ground really hard. It could have killed me. But because I was healthy, I was able to recuperate rather quickly and, you know, get back to my full health, even though I'm not 25 anymore. You know, I have a number of years on me, but I still feel really good because of the system. And if you want to know what the system is, you can go to bodyofhealth.life and review all of our previous programs, and you'll see the things and how they interlock. But this breathing is actually fun.
Yeah.
It's not hard to do, but it's very powerful. I mean, it really makes a difference in your health.
And I think too, to really make it easy for folks. Okay. And on the one hand, it isn't that easy, but you're trying to get to 21. You just go as far as you can on the first try and the second try and the third. I've only gotten to 21 once. All right. I've gotten to 16 or 17 a couple times, and then a little lower. And it all depends upon what you've been doing prior to that. But if you can do it once in the morning, once in the evening, and what's nice is you don't have to be loud on it. You know, you don't have to count it out or anything like that.
The trick to that is you count faster. There's nothing wrong with
No,
that.
not at all. Not at all.
It says count, doesn't say seconds. So
That's
as
right.
you know, you can get through it by counting faster. Then as time goes by, you'll count slower,
Mm-hmm.
and it will
Yeah.
help you more.
And that, in addition to the oxygenation of the body, it also helps to, if I'm not mistaken, I would think that it would help to strengthen your lung
Oh,
capacity.
yes, it does a lot of things for you,
Yeah.
you know, and if you breathe deeper, you live longer.
Mm,
A lot of tests have proven that. If you have the better your lung capacity, the longer you're going to live. Well, this is what this does for you.
yeah. Yeah.
And number 6 is also hyperbolic therapy. Now, you can't do that at home. You have to find a place to go that has um, a, it's a pod. You get into the pod and it forces oxygen into your body, which after my stroke, I did that. I
Hmm.
had peripheral neuropathy really bad. And I did the hyperbolic therapy and it really helped. Some people say you just can't get better from peripheral neuropathy, but you can. And hyperbolic therapy is really good for that. And this kind of breathing kind of does the same thing, but it can't quite go as deeply and as powerful as getting into that pod and having that oxygen forced into your system for 30 or 40 minutes. And you feel pretty good when you get out. It's kind of expensive, but it's worthwhile.
Once again, pay me now or pay me later, that kind of thing. So take advantage of those kinds of things when you can. Now, this also deal has something to do with the alkaline in the system, the pH and so forth. In and why can you tell us from your research and observation, why is that important? What's the significance of the pH, the alkaline in the body?
Well, cancer cells can't live in an alkaline um, environment. And most people, with the foods they eat, the things they do, their body's more acidic than alkaline. So if you can do things that causes your body to have more alkaline than acid, it makes it very difficult for the cancer cells to live. And as I said, cancer cells are damaged anyway. They're really easy to kill.
Mm,
So these simple things that you're doing, you may think, well, cancer's really strong. That's not true. It's really not.
mm.
And if you can do all of these things together or some of them and fit them into your life, you may be surprised at the changes.
It makes me think of what we went through about 6 years ago, around this time. And when people started passing away or dying from the issues surrounding COVID or coronavirus, COVID-19, many people succumbed due to underlying conditions, according to the statistics. Matter of fact, they did a real quick, shall we say, survey of the people who had passed away primarily in New York City. And they had all of those refrigerator tractor trailer cars filled with, sadly, with bodies. And what they found was that 99%, and this was early on, mind you, and this was early on, 99% of those who had succumbed to the underlying conditions that the COVID virus, the coronavirus, took advantage of. And the reality is the same thing here. If our systems are weakened due to all of these other conditions, whether it's high blood pressure, high blood sugar, whatever you want to list there, then most likely our systems are predisposed to those weak but still very destructive cancer cells. I mean, it just stands to reason that if your immune system isn't up to par, isn't at 100%, then how are you going to fight off some of these things that the immune system was actually designed to fight off? So it was, in many cases, you would never know that the cancer cells ever showed up because your immune system attacked and won. But if it's weak, how can it do that? So I think that's another aspect of all of this, that everything we're talking about is going to help to improve your immune system. And we encourage you to go to the bodyofhealth.life website to get more information about many of the things that we've been talking about here. Go to dennisjhenson.com, go to the health tab, scroll down. You can find, again, as Dennis was mentioning, about the deep breathing segment and the 521 technique. As well as many other things that we've talked about here on this program. And we encourage you to do that. And we encourage you to stay with us as we continue with Body of Health here on Tell Me Your Story. Reverend Dr. D, Dennis Henson, and we're here. We don't wear lab coats, don't have a stethoscope, My wife does in our medicine box, but then again, she was in the medical field, not as an RN, but as a technician who helped people with their in the cardiology department. I just applaud her for the work that she has done over the years, helping people to better understand their conditions and so forth. And that's kind of what we're doing here, helping you to better understand. So, Dennis, what's next on the hit parade when it comes to combating, as they say, the big C?
Well, the next we're going to have a mushroom extract supplement, or actually two of them. The first one is AHCC and then beta glucans. Now, AHCC stands for active hexose correlated compound, which you don't have to say all that. Just AHCC. And again, it's available to you on the website, bodyofhealth.life. And you want to take this on an empty stomach first thing in the morning. And why? Well, it's kind of like this. If there were a safe in front of you, and it was a combination safe, and you knew there was $1 million inside, and this bum walked in off the street, and he wasn't clean, and he couldn't talk very well, didn't have a very good education, and he told you, well, the combination to the safe is 5639, and you opened it, you got the $1 million. Did it matter that it came from a bomb? No, it didn't matter at all. It's
No.
just, it's what you know, okay? So I can't go into great detail about why this works. I can just tell you this. It's a combination. It's one of the numbers on the combination to fight cancer. So you just do it. You know, you put the combination in and it works. So you can either try it or not. It's up to you. But what's on the other side of the safe is a healthy, happy, longer life. So is it worth a try? Well, I don't know. Some people are allergic to certain mushrooms. I know I am. You know, the ones that help you sleep, I can take them. It makes me itch. But this I'm not allergic to, and this will fight cancer. So if you already have cancer, or if you have cancer in your family, or if you're afraid of getting cancer, you can plug this in because it's been proven to work, or you can choose not to. It's kind of up to you.
Mm. And that's really what it comes down to. Goes back to even my book, Choices, 5 Steps for Life. The first step is to make a choice. And if the information that you have been listening to, whether it's here or elsewhere, resonates with you, that's kind of my perspective. Then then consider the possibilities, the good possibilities, the things that might actually help you in that process, and then move forward. Do some research, check with your primary care physician, and then move forward. And no, you don't have to learn how to say some of these things, pronounce them and so forth. We're giving it our best shot. But that's not the prerequisite. The prerequisite is what do you want? Make a choice. Do you want better health? Well, then consider these possibilities. We're not telling you to do anything. We're saying consider the possibilities. We hope that you will do the research necessary, or check out the research Dennis has done by going to dennisjhenson.com, clicking on the health tab, and scrolling on down to the information that's available there. We are into this program. It's called Body of Health. It's a series that's going to be here for the entire year, probably 52, 53. As a matter of fact, I'm going to have to check my calendar. Last year when we did the Real Impact Daily Inspiration series, I thought, 52 weeks. Every Wednesday, we're here for 52 programs. It turns out there were 53 of them in that particular year, and I think there may be 53 in this year, so we'll see. But we'll continue on as we continue talking with Dennis Henson here on Tell Me Your Story. The program is called Body of Health. It's a series, and we're going to continue on from where we left off. Let's go into this next one that I've never heard of before. Dennis, what is this?
Well, the next one's fun and it's easy. If you live in Alabama, it's really, really easy. It's called forest breathing. Now, Alabama's not the only place that has forests, but it has a lot of pine thickets and also cedar or pine. And it's this simple. You just go out in the woods and breathe. If you can smell the pine trees or the cedar trees, that's really, really good for you. It naturally boosts killer T cells counts
Mm.
and it lowers the stress hormones because the more stress that you have in your life, the more likely you're going to have cancer.
You know, it's
So
interesting.
this one sounds, I mean, to me, this is like heaven, walking out in the woods with your dog and just inhaling and smelling the pine trees or the trees that have aroma. And
Well,
I
it's
think,
fascinating because, of course, out here in Central and Southern California, actually all over the Southwest, as this the heat has been popping up. Only back in early February we had 4 days of snow, and we were digging out of that and all that good stuff. Well, wife and I, we were driving through the hills here with the windows down because it was comfortable. I mean, it was about 80, but it was still comfortable. And I said, you know what? I smell pines. And she said, well, yeah, because we're surrounded by pine trees. I said, no, no, no. I have not smelled the aroma of pine since we moved here, with the only exception of when I brought our Christmas tree into the house. So as the temperature rises, you can smell it even more so. It was just like, wow, this smells, and it's just what you were just talking about. It really, I mean, I don't know that I was necessarily stressed or anything like that, but I have to tell you, I really was feeling pretty darn good as we were driving through the woods to our destination and just taking in that lovely pine fragrance. It's fantastic.
I agree. I grew up with pine thickets all around. There were um, pine burrs everywhere. You could just pick them up off the ground. And then I moved to Texas and I'd go into a novelty store and they were selling those for, $3 or $4, as a novelty. And I thought, well, back home, you can have as many as you want. Just get a bag and go outside and fill it up. And here you have to pay for them. That's an interesting thing to learn.
Absolutely. And that's the other thing. There is so much to learn. I mean, there's so much information out there. That's why we encourage you to research, to investigate, and so forth, to make sure you're getting the right info. I don't know what it is that's on my wife's phone, for example. I never get these notifications. I don't know, maybe I'm not tapped into the right place.
Uh,
She keeps getting these notifications about different people who've died. And she'll tell me, "Oh, did you hear that so and so had died?" I'm not even going to mention names of those people. And I said, "Hang on a second," and I'll go to my AI and I'll say, "Has so and so died?" No, I don't know what's going on with her phone and what she's connected to, but she's getting false information. And so that's why it's so important to do your own research. Go to the sources that you trust to investigate what we're talking about. And what we're talking about, of course, here is our next item on the hit parade of combating cancer, Dennis. Um, I think I can pronounce this. Keto, I've heard of ketogenic living. Tell us, what is that all about?
But it's a lifestyle that's fueled by healthy fats instead of glucose. So again, it's going back to your diet. You're replacing you're putting olive oil in the place of corn oil, or
Hmm.
you're using coconut oil, or you're eating healthy meats, and you're doing away with the bad stuff in the five white foods that we mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
So it provides healthy cells with ketones and a clean burning fuel that cancer cells cannot metabolize. So if you can shift to eating things like avocados and olive oil, 75% of the day of your food and 20% protein, and then keep your carbohydrates down to 5%, then you're living that ketogenic lifestyle, which is much healthier, and it prevents and helps to fight the cancer that you may already have.
Mm. Well, again, it's a term I've heard before, and of course I've seen it. Pardon me, on packages, keto, on all kinds of packages in the frozen food section, and sometimes in the dry food section, and that kind of thing. And I'm going, well, why is that such a big deal? And of course, this there's a method that I have learned about, and I learned about it back in the '80s from a woman by the name of Carol Kepler back in Phoenix. And she shared with me this technique that helps you. And the reason I even bring this up is because people can put a label on damn near anything and call it whatever they want. It could be a box of, let's just say, dried strawberries, and they're calling it Fruit Loops, or they're calling it whatever they want to call it, or they'll call it organic or keto or what have you. Well, there's a method that because your body knows. Have you ever had that experience, Dennis, where you are about to eat something and maybe sometimes you'll smell it and it doesn't smell right? Not because it's bad, but because your body is telling you this is not good for you. And it's called muscle testing, or there's another name for it called kinesiology. Have you ever heard of this? Have you ever thought about that? And it actually goes deeper than that. It's almost like your still small voice is telling you, hey, you need to stay away from that. This has nothing to do with cravings here. This has to do with eating the right things to fuel the motor in your body to keep it running optimally over the years.
Right. Well, whatever it is, I'm hyper because the smell of food, I'm just not going to eat something that smells. And I have a really good sense of smell.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very aware of that kind of thing. Now, my wife, she'll eat anything. It doesn't matter with her. She'll just eat it. But then, she grew up in Mexico, and some of the things they eat on there is really foreign to me. But yeah, I think it's important to be aware of what you put in your mouth. I
Yeah.
think that's very healthy, healthy way to be.
Well, I know that, like going back to the car analogy, there are all kinds of different motor oils. There's synthetic and there's natural and so on and so on. There's higher levels, there's premium. And to use a gasoline analogy, there's unleaded and regular and premium. And it's the same thing with the foods that are out there. And that's why we need to. This goes back to what we talked about in our one of our previous programs about listening to our body. And your body tells you, doesn't it? Through
Yes,
your olfactory, no, that's not for me. It's not. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's not for me. Yeah,
I agree.
I heard the wonderful analogy. This was more dealing with relationships and an individual who isn't connecting with people and so forth. And I say, well, wait a minute. You are kind of like the chocolate cake with chocolate icing all over it, sitting on the dining room table. All right. And it is an absolutely magnificent creation. It's delicious and might even be good for you because it's made with all natural ingredients and, no sugar. Maybe artificial sweeteners, or not artificial, I shouldn't say that, but non sugar sweeteners. And you have 10 people in the room and only three or four people to take a slice and eat it. Does that mean there's something wrong with the chocolate cake? Again, the analogy to you? No, it just means that there are only certain people that really enjoy what you have to offer. Well, it's the same thing with these foods. My wife, there are certain things that I will eat that she wants nothing to do with. And it's not because it's bad, it's just because that's what her body is telling her to stay away from. And I think that's a really important aspect of this conversation that we have to remind ourselves, because there's a difference between that information, Dennis, and the cravings that we get, especially when it comes to salt and sugar and carbs and those kinds of things that the way our metabolism operates sometimes, we want to have all that stuff, but we've already learned, and this is an important fact too, that you can't ignore what you already know. You cannot plead ignorance. Once you've heard the information or checked it out for yourself, it's like, oh, I really, really want those M&Ms or that piece of chocolate cake that's been made from a mix and what have you, or whatever the case might be. And it's like, no, I think I'm going to pass. I mean, there are times I go into the kitchen, Dennis. We have a bowl of fruit. We have these little tangerines and some bananas, which I will peel, and I'll have one, sometimes one a day, that I'll spread with peanut butter after every bite. Just a little bit of peanut butter on top, and I'll take a bite and so forth. And then there's this concoction that we made of a little snack with raisins and nuts. And we're going to change out the chocolate portion with dark chocolate chips. All right. And we'll just take a handful of that, toss it in our mouths, just a little something, right? Right now, I think we have a small amount of regular like M&Ms or something along those lines, right? Well, maybe those M&Ms aren't the best thing to have, but hey, we've got the raisins and the nuts, you know. So at least it's three quarter or two-thirds healthier than it could be with if it was just the M&Ms.
Well,
And I
if you,
looked at that this morning. Matter of fact, I went up to get my coffee, and I looked at that container, and I'm going, well, no, I'm going to go ahead and have that banana with the peanut butter, or and when I do eat the banana or the tangerine, I actually feel better, not just because of that fruit, but because I made that decision. And the more we make those decisions, in one sense, the easier it gets, isn't it? That we start doing that and it becomes a habit that we choose the right things instead of the things that may actually foster the development of those cells.
exactly. My wife has become really good at putting stuff for me to eat that's very healthy, that doesn't break any of the rules. It doesn't have any of the white foods or any of the bad stuff. It's just got good stuff. And I tell you, I eat like a king. When I first had the stroke, I thought I'm going to starve to death because all the stuff that I can't eat,
Hmm.
life's just not going to be fun anymore. But after time, she's learned to put things in front of me that are just delicious and very healthy. So it's possible to do. And a lot of the stuff that I've learned, again, is on the website. A lot of recipes of really, really tasty, tasty
Yeah.
things that are actually healthy for you rather than being unhealthy for you.
And that website is dennisjhenson.com. Go on over to the right to the health tab. Scroll on down. As Dennis has said, there are recipes galore, and that can go a long way. I'm curious now, when she is making these meals for you to keep you on track, is she eating the same things?
Yes, yes, we both eat very healthy. Yes,
Excellent. I know my wife and I, we really do our best. We really try hard to eat together, eat the same things. And I've learned some things about, for example, potatoes. When I think the white potato, the russet, as well as they can do the same thing. I think with pasta or rice, even though those are things you want to stay away from. There are ways to neutralize the the starches and so forth. You cook them, then you put them in the refrigerator,
right.
and then you can bring them out later once they've cooled down and everything, and you can use them, and you're not going to have the same issues. Especially in my case with the whole glucose issue, you're not
Right.
going to have those same kind of issues as if you had eaten them straight out of the oven or
Yeah.
off of the stovetop.
Same way with bread. You can freeze the bread and bring it out. It's much more healthy for you. But
Yeah.
if you're going to eat potatoes, if you fix them and freeze them and then bring them back and heat them up, it's much, much more healthy for you.
Yeah. Or what we've done, and it's not so much a switch because we really do enjoy them, and that's the sweet potatoes.
Yeah,
Oh my heaven. Now you can eat those right out of the oven.
they're good for
They
you.
are, oh, they're just fantastic. And I buy the big ones at the grocery store. I'll buy the big ones And then when we get home, all I need to do is cut up one of them. I'll peel it and cut it up, put it in the pan. Might put some butter, unsweetened butter on top of it, that kind of thing. We've even used a little bit of maple syrup just to add a little flavor, and put it in the oven and let it for about an hour and a half, believe it or not, at 375. And they come out and oh, just abs. She will maybe take a quarter of what's in the pan. I end up eating up the three quarters because I know, just as if I was eating a big salad, it's not going to hurt me. That's the thing I love, especially about salads. I can eat as much as I want because most of it's water anyway. And then the other stuff, the fiber and the greens and everything, are good for my body. So I can go ahead and eat as much as I want. We're doing a program here where we're talking about combating cancer. And we're going to continue on here in just a moment as we continue with Body of Health. Go to bodyofhealth.life. We hope that you will check out the items that are available, though. Then also go to dennisjhenson.com to find out more about the work we're doing. And scroll down on the Health tab to join the Body of Health group on Facebook as we continue here on Tell Me Your Story. Dennis J. Henson's with me here, along with yours truly, Reverend Dr. D. And as always, we remind you we're not doctors, so what we're sharing is observations and experience, perspectives, and so on and so forth. So, Dennis, I never thought of our DNA as something that could be altered, other than maybe within the laboratory where they're doing things like CRISPR and those kinds of things. But apparently, we can and have altered our DNA as human beings over especially the last 50, 75 years with a lot of these processed foods and so forth. But you've got our next step here having to do with something that actually can help to protect our DNA. Talk to us about this.
Well, it's folate, and it's found in natural vitamin B9 in whole foods. And the benefits of this is amazing. It prevents DNA breaks and genetic mutations that lead to out of control tumor growth, which is called cancer.
Mm,
So,
mm.
putting folate in your diet is something that very, very helpful, and it's not that difficult to do. Uh, you incorporate it in your daily servings by eating a lot of dark leafy greens and high quality beef, such as liver. I don't like liver, but I like beef. In fact, one of the most healthy foods that my wife fixes for me is a hamburger. Now, you have to be careful with the bun. You don't want to have a white flour bun, but if you can, you get a healthy bun, and then uh, you have the hamburger meat, which is really, really good for you, and tomato and lettuce and pickle. I mean, all of those things are not only delicious, but they're really, really good for your body. So I love hamburgers. And so probably 50% of my diet is a healthy hamburger,
Hmm.
which you probably can't get if you go to a fast food place because, McDonald's doesn't have healthy food.
Yeah.
But uh, I looked up the healthiest hamburger, and I think Whataburger has the healthiest hamburger. And we have a Whataburger in walking distance from my house. So from time to time, I do have a fast food hamburger, but it's a Whataburger. And I'm careful with the bun. But folate's important. Just make sure that you get enough of it in your daily diet.
And that's important. That's important. I know that they have these plant-based, I'll call them meats. They're pseudo meats, if you will, the Impossible Burger and those kinds of things that you get in the grocery store and make it yourself. But I'll tell you what we've switched to, and let me ask you about your perspective on this, and that is we have switched when we are going to do something with ground anything, it's ground turkey, or occasionally we will get chicken, and we do try to do our utmost to get organic of both of those, right?
Yes.
Uh, and I'll
Grass-fed
tell you
beef,
what,
really
we've
good for
made certain meals with ground turkey
you. Yes.
absolutely delicious.
Well, as long as you're getting grass-fed beef,
Hmm.
then that's really a healthy thing to eat. Although it's gotten some bad publicity over the years, more recent studies have shown that it's really not a bad thing. It's good for you. But again, we're not doctors.
Yeah,
We're your physician. Do your own research.
yeah.
But I think you're really missing the boat if you miss out on a good hamburger every once in a while.
Well, it's good protein as well. I mean, that's the other aspect of it too. It isn't just fats. I don't know that there are carbohydrates in beef, grass-fed beef or not. I just know that, your issues are the protein and the fat that may
Yeah.
be in the meat that you're
Oh,
that you're
God.
cooking.
Yes.
And fat in the proper volumes and for eating actually is good for you. Your body needs fat too. You don't want to eliminate them completely, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to have a lot of roughage. And the number one thing is one of my favorites for roughage is popcorn. As long as you're careful how you prepare it, you don't use the bad oil, you use the
Yeah.
good oils. Uh, and then you can have that for a snack and some good salt, and it's really, really good for you.
Yeah.
Make you live longer. The more roughage that you eat, the longer you live. So have a good snack of popcorn with some olive oil and Celtic salt.
Mm.
Uh, it's hard to beat that.
Yeah. I've even heard of people who are making the popcorn. They'll put the oil in the pan and they'll get the temperature up to a certain degree. They'll put the popcorn kernels in the pan and then they will sprinkle their favorite seasonings. Could be cinnamon,
Yeah,
could be garlic or oregano or whatever other wonderful flavors you'd like to have for that popcorn. And
cayenne
now
pepper.
it's sort of cooked right into the popcorn. You don't have to sprinkle it, it's already there, which
Yeah.
is really, really cool.
If you're a stroke victim or you have a stroke in your family, cayenne pepper is really great for you.
Mm,
I put it on my popcorn. It's an easy way to get it down. And you think, well, it's going to irritate um, my digestive
esophagus.
system.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Mhm.
just the opposite. Cayenne pepper heals your digestive system, and it
Yeah.
doesn't create heartburn. It's really, I mean, if you take a spoonful of it, it's going to burn your mouth. Don't
Mm,
do that.
mm-hmm.
But an easy way to get it down is just sprinkle it on your popcorn, and taste makes the popcorn taste really good. Spicy popcorn with a lot of salt and the right kind of oil.
Absolutely. We're going to take another quick pause to remind you that you are listening to the Body of Health series with Dennis Henson and Reverend Dr. D. Richard Dugan. And this is part of Tell Me Your Story. All right, folks. Well, we've come to wrap up the second part of this, what is going to turn into a three-part series on combating cancer. That's how big this issue is. And nothing that I can see, Dennis, that you have mentioned in the two parts thus far are really that big of a deal. Yeah, there are a couple of things like that hyperbolic tank might be a little on the expensive side, not to buy, okay, but to find and use to go in there. But most everything else is number one, it's reasonably priced. Number two, it's easy to get. And number three, it has such great benefits as we make this transition here in 2026 to a better quality of life for all of us. And I think that's really the bottom line of what we're trying to get across to folks is that's why we call this the body of health. Along with your website, thebodyofhealth.life, as well as dennisjhenson.com. Wrap things up for us here on part two of the three-part series on combating cancer.
Well, Richard, we're going kind of fast and we're talking a lot in the middle, so it's probably hard to get everything, but it's really not hard if you just go to bodyofhealth.life and click on fantastic articles for health. And every show that we've done is broken down so it's easy to read, easy to check things off, easy to find the products or whatever that you need and incorporate them in your life. And I hope that you'll do that. I hope you'll live longer, have a much better life, and maybe maybe the things we're doing here will save some lives. Then wouldn't that be wonderful? And I hope you'll come back next week.
Yeah. Well, we will be back next week to wrap up this particular conversation, at least at this time. It may come up again later on in the year as we continue to bring you this series called Body of Health. It is part of Tell Me Your Story with Dennis J. Henson and yours truly, Reverend Dr. D. Richard Dugan. We certainly hope you'll join us. And until our next broadcast, podcast, videocast, love Talal. Jeanette, I'm still listening. Dad, continue to be happy because I am. Smokey, I'll see you on the other side. Mike, thanks for being in my life and letting me be in yours. And to my dear friend Zorro, aho, aho.